How's it going, everybody? Aetherdrift just dropped, and much like last season, I'm going to start it off just by opening up packs. I saved up my gold from the last season for, I don't know, roughly the last 30 days of it or something like that. Managed to get 44 packs of the Aetherdrift right away, and we got 4 packs of the rare packs because of the 40 packs I bought. I'm going to be doing it a little bit different than last time. I'm just going to open them all at once and mostly be checking out the rares. So this should be a little bit of a quicker video, but I thought this would be a nice way to check out some of the new cards right away because I can get this video out quick and uploaded for some early content before I start deck building and need to put things together. So hopefully you guys enjoy this. Like I said, it should be a little bit quicker than last time, so hopefully that should be nice too. Let's go ahead and open up our first 10 packs. I've noticed they got this weird achievement thing going on now. I don't know a lot about it, but I've already completed a couple. Alright, let's see what we got here. Are these all rares? No. Okay, so our non-rare cards and stuff are still going to be in here. Let me just take a quick glance through here and see if there's any in particular I'm super excited about. We got Bloodfell Caves, so that's a reprint. Some lands and stuff. I'm not super familiar with a lot of these cards. See, maximum overdrive, put a 1/1 counter on target creature against death touch and indestructible into turn. So we've seen a lot of cards like that in the past. Arid Raceway, start your engines. I actually think this is a pretty good land because it has the start your engines and max speed effect. I have seen it used a little bit, and as far as a non-basic, non-rare land, this is one that still might actually see quite a bit of play. Let's see what else we got here. Risky Shortcut, draw 2 cards, each player loses 2 life. I don't know about that being a 3 cost and such. Got a wild card. The commons and uncommons for this set, I can honestly say I am not super familiar with. Not a lot of them seem super relevant to me. What is this one? Dynamite Diver, 1-drop Goblin. Goblins are going to be pretty fun this set. This creature's saddles, mounts, and cruise vehicles as though its power were 2 or greater. When this creature dies, it deals 1 damage to any target. So that's not terrible for a 1-drop goblin, especially not if you're taking advantage of the pilot function of it. Lightning Strike getting reprinted. I think the art's cool. I actually do like the art. Very colorful and vibrant art on a lot of these new Aetherdrift prints, so I actually really like that. Engine Rat, we got a new rat, zombie rat at that. It's 1/1 death touch for 1. That's not the worst. And then let's see, pay 6 and each opponent loses 2 life. I mean, I guess if you have nothing else to do at 6, could be useful in draft actually, just for the 1/1 death touch and then the upside later when you're drawing cards. Flying Haste Vampire. I do love vampires. I'm super excited for the vampires that I saw reprinted and printed in this set. We've got a 3/3 for 5, which is expensive. Flying Haste, start your engines, max speed, it gives the creature a lifelink. I think this is pretty bad, all things considered. If it wasn't just a 3/3, maybe it would be usable. Like I said, I think start your engines is good, but on a 5-drop, that sucks. And the max speed just gives it lifelink, which, I mean, there's Vampire Nighthawk, which is a 3-drop 3/3 with flying, lifelink, and death touch. So this is not anywhere near good enough. And I think the Preacher's still probably better than the Nighthawk in a lot of situations. What else we got here? This looks interesting. An Elemental Pirate. I didn't know they were printing more pirates, but I'm all for that also. Packed Doll Terror. So there's a new toy. That's cool. I didn't know they were doing more of that either. Whenever this creature or another artifact you control enters, each opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. It's a 4-drop 3/4. It's not the worst in the world. You could maybe do some fun toy synergy stuff with that. Just trying to see if anything else really stands out to me. I do think these are pretty okay. It is a lizard, so this is going to play into the lizards really nicely. It's a 2-drop 2/3, which is also really solid. It has start your engines on a 2-drop, which is great. When this creature enters, it deals 1 damage to target opponent, and you gain 1 life, which is really good. And max speed, this creature has death touch and haste. So yeah, very solid card, really great for lizards, absolutely will see play, and I'll probably make a lizard deck just because I'm seeing this. We've got Gestal Raider. This is another vampire, which I love. 3-drop 2/1, which isn't fantastic. Start your engines, which is okay. When this creature enters, target opponent reveals their hand. You choose an instant or sorcery card from it. That player discards that card, and max speed. This creature gets +1/+1 and has menace. So you likely wouldn't have max speed already on the turn playing this, so it'll come in as a 2/1. It does have the added benefit of giving you a duress effect. Maybe that warrants the 3-drop, I don't know, because on its own I could see this being a 1 or well, being a 2-drop would probably be fair for this card to begin with without the other abilities, because a 2-drop 2/1's pretty standard. So I think this could actually be usable. What we got here, a demon. 7-drop demon though. 7-drop 5/5. When this creature enters, all other creatures get -2/-2 until end of turn. It has cycling. Cycling on it means that it's probably better than nothing. 7-drop is still a lot though. There's a lot of better options for demons. We got a new Scarecrow. That's interesting. Wickerfolk Indomitable. 4-drop 4/3. You may cast this card from your graveyard by paying 2 life and sacrificing an artifact or creature in addition to paying its other costs. I don't love it. I like Scarecrows, and I made a Scarecrow deck that I haven't posted that I played around with a little bit that definitely still needed some more attention. So maybe something like this could be in it. We got another Ooze. What's this Ooze about? 4-drop 2/2 sounds terrible. When this creature enters, mill 2 cards, then put a 1/1 counter on this creature for each artifact and or creature card in your graveyard. Okay, this is actually really great. Because it doesn't say for how many are in your graveyard that were milled by this. So if you're playing a self-mill deck, which Golgari is very capable of doing right now, and playing off of like Scavenging Oozes and Ooze Patrol and stuff like that. So yeah, this card actually could be pretty good, because it's definitely going to be more than a 2/2 pretty much every single time you play it. We've got a new Elf Druid. What do we got here? 3-drop 2/3. During your turn, as long as you haven't activated an exhaust ability this turn, you may activate exhaust abilities as though they haven't been activated. As long as you haven't activated an exhaust ability this turn, you may activate exhaust abilities as though they haven't been activated. I don't really get that. If they haven't been activated, then why would that matter? I don't get it, but let's see. Put a 1/1 counter on this creature as an exhaust ability. That's pretty good. Exhaust, activate each exhaust ability only once. So I guess that's as long as you haven't used it this turn. Yeah, then that means you could redo the exhaust abilities on your cards, because it looks like you can only do them once otherwise. So maybe that's interesting. Got some vehicles. Let's finally check out some of our rares here. We got a land. They've got the new red-white one. Thopter Fabricator, 4/4 for 3. Whenever you draw your second card each turn, create a 1/1 colorless Thopter artifact creature token with flying, and you have Through. That seems pretty usable. Royal Imperator, 3-drop 5/4, and other dinosaurs you control get +1/+1. This is a fantastic card. A 3-drop 5/4 on its own is insane, and it has the tribal effect of making your other dinosaurs bigger. This card's insane. What else we got here? Monument to Endurance, 3-drop. Whenever you discard a card, choose one that hasn't been chosen this turn. Draw a card, create a treasure token. Each opponent loses 3 life. This looks like a really solid rare too. It is a 3-drop, but artifacts are going to be super prevalent in this set. So yeah, this is really pretty interesting already. Let's see what we've got here. Spectacular Pile Up as a 5-drop. All creatures and vehicles lose indestructible until end of turn, and then destroy all creatures and vehicles. This could be actually a really good card. I've seen the God cards having indestructible and stuff, so this is actually probably a really solid removal, board wipe removal for this set. Lord of the Undead. This art is insanely good. I really like that. It's a 2/2 zombie for 3. Other zombie creatures get +1/+1, which is really good too. It's not fantastic like the dinosaur, but it's still really good. It's very solid. And pay 2, tap, return target zombie card from your graveyard to your hand. I think that's a really good card, honestly. What we got here? I've seen this one used, Perilous Snare. It's got Start Your Engines. It's a 3-drop, essentially like Trapped in the Screen from the Duskmourn set. And then when this artifact enters, exile target non-land permanent an opponent controls until this artifact leaves the battlefield. And then when you have max speed, you can put a 1/1 counter on target creature or vehicle you control as a sorcery just by tapping it. This card is like a better Trapped in the Screen. Like I said, this is very playable, very good. And I've seen people using it already in the pre-release. Speed Demon. This is a fantastic card that I'm super happy to already be seeing one of. This is a 5-drop legendary creature demon. It has flying, trample, and start your engines, which I will admit, turn 5 is a pretty late time frame to start your engines, but this is going to be a really good card in demons. I guarantee you're going to be seeing this in Golgari demons, and with ramp, with stuff like Llanowar elves, this thing's going to be coming out fast and being dangerous. It says at the beginning of your end step, when you draw, or at the beginning of your end step, you draw X cards and lose X life, where X is your speed. So at 4 speed, this could be like fairly dangerous, but you also have the Unholy Annex, so this thing is going to be nuts. It really is. Got a Mythic Wild card, which I will take. Got the Coalstoke Gear Hulk. This is another really good looking card. I'm surprised to get a couple of mythics right out the gate here on my first 10. Got Menace, Death Touch, 5/4, 4/5 mana. And when this creature enters, put target creature card with mana value 4 or less from your graveyard onto the battlefield under your control with a finality counter on it. That creature gains Menace, Death Touch, and Haste. At the beginning of your next end step, exile that creature. I've been seeing this card used in things like the Visage Wizard or whatever with blue, to where you can make copies of it and stuff and just put a whole crap ton of them out on the battlefield at the same time. I don't have any plans for this for a Rakdos deck yet, but this card does look really good. And then what's our last one here? Radiant Lotus, 6-drop, super expensive. Tap it, sacrifice 1 or more artifacts, choose a color, target player adds 3 mana of the chosen color for each artifact sacrificed this way. So this is a really crazy ramp tool, but I don't actually think it's going to see much standard play. I'd be really surprised if it does. Let's go into our next 10 packs. Got another nice little bump of wild cards. I'm going to save those for the end again and just try to take another little glance here at a lot of these earlier cards. Some more of these lands, a lot of the ones that I'm probably not going to use. They're just the enter tapped gain 1 life ones. I will say the arts are nice. I'll probably swap out like my Brawl decks and stuff for these arts because they're really cool. Got another Engine Rat. Got another Goblin here. What's this one like? Prowcatcher Specialist, 2-drop, 2/1 haste, exhaust, put 2/1/1 counters on this creature. Not the worst ever. I mean, it's a 2/1, which isn't fantastic, but it has haste, it's a 2-drop, so it's not super expensive, and that exhaust ability is nice if you got nothing else to do. But I don't see that coming up a lot in Goblin decks. They're going to be fairly aggressive. Got a Lizard Mount with Death Touch, 2/1. I'm not big fans of like the X1 creatures that are fairly weak on their own. We got a Shark Pirate. I love this card. It looks terrible, but I love the art, and it's a Shark Pirate. Thunderhead Gunner is a 5-drop, 4/5 with reach. Discard a card, draw a card. Activate only as a sorcery and only once each turn. The ability is not terrible. You don't have to pay into it. It's just a free discard mechanic. So this could actually end up in like a Rakdos deck or something, and be fairly good for like a Rakdos and Reanimator. But it's really expensive, which I don't like about it. Got an Insect Warrior here. It says I already had it, so I must have overlooked it before. It is pretty expensive, so I can see why it wouldn't have caught my attention too much. The art on this looks amazing. Gestal Blockbuster, 3-drop, 3/2, which is solid. Human Berserker. When this creature enters, you may sacrifice a creature or vehicle. When you do, destroy target artifact and opponent controls. That's not a bad ability at all in this set. That's going to be actually really relevant. So this could be a really good card in aggressive decks just to pop your opponent's artifacts. You could run this instead of like an Abrade or something and have a creature on top of killing an artifact. So that's pretty cool. This creature may sacrifice. Okay, you do have to sacrifice something to get the ability, so I guess there is that. But I still think this is pretty solid. Another vehicle. I'm not super stoked for the vehicles, personally. They have some potential, and I think things like the Snake Horse, I can't even remember what it's called, but the little Mount Snake Horse is finally going to get a lot of potential because of this. Got Goblin Surveyor, 3-drop, 3/2, trample, start your engines, max speed, exile this card from your graveyard, draw a card. I don't like this one that much, to be honest. Maybe that's just my first glance opinion of it, but that's a fairly expensive ability. It has to be in your graveyard. It's a 3 cost to play it. 3-2 with trample is not great. I just don't think it's a fantastic card, but who knows? Maybe it's pretty good. Night Market. What's this? Land enters tapped. As it enters, choose a color, add 1 mana of the chosen color, and you can cycle it. The fact that you can cycle it's pretty cool, and it can basically be any land color that you want. So another potential land to be played that isn't a basic land or a rare land. Could be worse for sure, so that's interesting. What else do we got in here? Anything else that stands out as super interesting looking just off first glance? What does this do? Bestow Greatness. 3-drop, instant, +4/+4, and trample. Meh. It's like a giant growth, essentially. Not super crazy. Horse Mount, Gilded Goda. 2-drop, 2/2. Whenever this creature attacks while saddled, create a treasure token. That's not bad, and it's only a saddle of 1, so this actually looks like a pretty interesting card. Getting treasure tokens is cool. You could potentially put this in like a Boros Tokens deck that plays off of the Dollhouse, the doll maker's shop, and that could be a really interesting synergy for it, maybe with like Innkeeper's Talent and stuff too. Or is it Innkeeper's Talent? Whichever one the white one is that's obnoxious. Siphon Fuel, target creature gets -6/-6 until end of turn, and you gain 2 life. It is a 5-drop, so that's really expensive, but that's cool. We got Deathless Pilot, 2-drop, 2/2. This creature saddles, mounts, and crews vehicles as though its power is 2 or greater. It is a power 2 creature, so that's kind of irrelevant in my opinion. You can pay 4 to return this card from a graveyard to your hand. I guess that's an adequate mana sink if you've got nothing else to do, and it's a zombie, so you could play zombie synergies with this, so maybe it's a good low-cost zombie, and I just don't know. Mutant Scout, that's interesting. Mutant Surveyor, start your engines, pay 2. This creature gets +1/+1 until end of turn. I think that's kind of bad. Max speed, pay 3, exile this card from your graveyard, draw a card. There are some really fantastic exile effects in this set, like the god, the black-white god that I was talking about. I don't know what it's... Caddis something? I don't know. I don't remember what it's called, but this could actually lean into that kind of a synergy fairly well. Got another zombie dude. Thunderhead Gunner again. I like the Shark Pirate, but... Oh, look, another Shark Pirate. What's this one all about? Marauding Mako. 1-drop, 1/1. I don't hate that. And a cycling for 2, which is cool late game, too. Whenever you discard 1 or more cards, you may put a 1/1 counter on this creature. This card's super cool, and it synergizes really well with this one, so Shark Pirates already sound super interesting. And that's not something I expected at all, because I didn't see them before this. What do we have here? Thundering Broodwagon. So this is a vehicle. It's a 6 cost, which is pretty expensive. It's 6/5 with Menace and Reach. It does have cycling, which means it has value, even if you get it early and just want to throw it. Let's see, when this vehicle enters, destroy target non-land permanent an opponent controls with mana value 4 or less. That's really relevant. I don't think that's bad at all. And it's got a crew of 3, which isn't too bad either. Affinity for artifacts, which is going to be super fun. I don't like that all of them are blue that are like this that I'm seeing, but affinity is so fun to be coming back in. Got another elf, a 2-drop 2/2 elf ranger, pay 1, target creature gains trample until end of turn, and exhaust, pay 4 to put 3 1/1 counters on this creature. So not terrible, actually. Pretty interesting card. What else we got here? There's the Wicker Folk again. Wretched Doll. This thing looks awesome as far as the art. It's a 2-drop 3/1 toy. You can pay 1 and tap it to surveil for 1. I could see some uses for this. I just really like the art. It looks awesome. Let's get into the rares here. We've got Curse Cloth Wrappings, a 4-drop artifact. Zombies you control get +1/+1, which is great. We were just talking about how zombies have good synergy in this set. Tap it, target creature card in your graveyard gains Embalm until end of turn. The Embalm cost is equal to its mana cost. Let's see what Embalm is. Exile a card with Embalm and pay its emblem cost, or an Embalm cost. Create a token that's a copy of it, except it's a white zombie in addition to its other types and has no mana cost. Embalm only as a sorcery. So that's really cool. That's going to be fun too. It's a really nice resurrection mechanic. I think these are going to be really fun to play in zombie synergy decks, potentially giving you another good opportunity to use the Liliana the Dreadhorde General, and having a good synergy there too. I think that's going to be a lot of fun. We've got Spectacular Pileup again. Like I said, this looks like a really solid board wipe card in white, so that's cool. Crypt Caller Chariot, another zombie thing. It's a 4-drop 5/5 vehicle with menace, and whenever you discard one or more cards, create that many tap 2/2 black creature tokens. There's zombies, cruise for 2. This card is great too. This and this really do synergize well with zombies. You can get the Liliana of the Veil in here with this and start discarding things really nicely. I think these are really good cards together, and just really interesting cards in general. Sita Varma Masked Racer, 2/3 for 2. I do love those cheap mana costs on legendary creatures. It's got an exhaust that's kind of crazy. Put X/1/1 counters on Sita Varma, then you may have the base power and toughness of each creature you control become equal to Sita Varma's power until end of turn. That's crazy. So that's a really interesting exhaust ability that would be very easy to pull off in Simic colors. So this is a really cool card. That's going to be really annoying, I guarantee it. We got Gunti Knight Minister. It is a 4-drop 3/4 legendary creature, Aetherborn Rogue. When a player casts a spell they don't own, that player creates a treasure token. Whenever a creature deals combat damage to one of your opponents, its controller looks at the top card of that opponent's library and exiles it face down. They may play that card for as long as it remains exiled. Mana of any type can be used to cast the spell. Okay, so this, I didn't know this was the card, but this is one of the cards that I want really badly in this set, so I'm super happy to have pulled one of them. I am absolutely going to be making a heist deck. MTG Malone made a really interesting looking heist or thief synergy deck in the pre-release, and I'm going to be taking a lot of inspiration from that. It looks like a super fun archetype that I love playing in general anyway, so this is going to be a lot of fun to play. Aetherborn, or Afterburner Expert, not Aetherburn, but let's see here. 3-drop 4/2, not terrible. Exhaust, pay 4, put 2/1/1 counters on this creature. Whenever you activate an exhaust ability, return this card from your graveyard to the battlefield. That's pretty good. So this thing's going to bring itself back anytime you use exhaust on any of your cards. And it goes to the battlefield directly, not your hand. So that's actually pretty solid. Wild card I love. This thing's only rare. I can guarantee I'm going to get a playset of this pretty quick. I have no idea how to say this one's name. Verbose Host. It's a 0/4 for 2. Legendary creature Homunculus. Start your engines. You have no maximum hand size, max speed. If you would draw a card, draw 2 cards instead. This is actually really good too. It's a 0/4, so it's fairly annoying to get rid of, and it doesn't, like, you don't want to expend a lot of resources on killing it because it's just a 0/4. It's a 2-drop, so you can get it out really early. It has start your engine, so it starts building up speed for you very quickly. And the no maximum hand size plus drawing extra cards whenever you would draw a card. This is a really good card. Another Speed Demon, very happy to see it. I may not even want more than 2 or 3 Speed Demons total, so I'm so excited to be getting them just from my packs. Count on Luck. 3-drop, all red specific enchantment. At the beginning of your upkeep, exile the top card of your library. You may play that card this turn. So, I mean, this could be really good, actually. You get this, especially in a mono-red deck. This thing is going to be drawing you extra cards in your potentially, like, aggro deck or, like, goblin deck, and that's going to be really good. Especially since you're only paying that mana cost once and then getting value from it every turn after that, especially getting your lands either out of your way or into your hand that way, or, you know, getting them to you without you having to draw them necessarily. So I think this is actually a really great card for mono-red. Let's get into our next 10. Got some more wild cards coming in. Super excited for that. Like I said, I hope I get a lot of the cards that I'm looking forward to without having to spend wild cards on it. But that's part of the fun of this, is just opening up all the loot. Got more lands, more Bloodfell Caves. I think I've probably already gotten a full playset of them. What is this? Spin out, pay 3, destroy target creature or vehicle. This is going to be a really relevant card. It's a common, which is fantastic. It's a 3-drop, which is less fantastic, but it targets creatures or vehicles, which is going to be really relevant in this set. We got another one here. Guidelight Matrix, 2-drop artifact. When this artifact enters, draw a card, pay 2 and tap it. Target mount you control becomes saddled until end of turn. Activate only as a sorcery. That's really crazy. You can do the same thing for vehicles, so this thing just acts as like a saddle resource for you without you even needing to have a creature. You do have to pay mana to do it, but that's still pretty cool. A Ripclaw Wrangler, mono black vehicle. 4-drop 4/3. When this vehicle enters, each opponent discards a card. Interesting. I don't know that that's the most efficient discard mechanic, but it is something that's not going to be immediately killed. Go for the Throat is going to be significantly less effective in this set, so that's something that's going to have to be reworked in most people's decks as far as I'm aware. Got another spin out. Just looking to see if I have anything else that seems super interesting. Pedal to the Metal, X and 1 red. Target creature gets +X/+0 until end of turn and first strike. That's not bad. It's not great, but the first strike's really nice. Not a big fan of blue, so I'm probably overlooking a lot of these that are probably pretty decent. What's this? Spectral Interference, counter spell, or creature unless its controller pays 4. That's pretty good. A pretty good counter spell for 2. Not as relevant late game, but honestly, it's pretty good. Because most of these sorts of effects are counter unless the controller pays 2, so that's actually really decent. Clamorous Ironclad, this is the mono red vehicle, 6/3 for 4. I guess that's not terrible, but it only has 3 toughness. It does have menace to make up for that a bit, I suppose. I like the cycling on these cards, though. Cycling means that they're going to be relevant even when they're not what you want to draw. Stall out, put target creature or vehicle. Tap target creature or vehicle, then put 3 stun counters on it. Also has cycling, it's only a 2-drop. Not terrible. I'm telling you, cycling is so huge. Carrion Jaguar Cat Mount. So we got some more cats. 5-drop 4/4s. Pretty meh. I don't love huge expensive cards that don't have immediately huge value. It is a mount. It has a saddle of 1, which is pretty acceptable. It has vigilance, which is nice. Whenever this creature attacks while saddled, it gets +2/+2 until end of turn. I wish it was more than just till end of turn, but fair enough. We got another Scarecrow here. Wreckage Wickerfolk is a 2-drop 1/3, which I think is much more acceptable than that last Scarecrow we saw. It has flying, and when this creature enters, you surveil 2. I think this one's really good, actually. So this one could see play for sure. We got another Night Market, which I'm pretty happy with. Bounce off, return target creature or vehicle to its owner's hand. I'm definitely going to end up seeing a lot of that, I imagine, because it's going to be just the better version of Unsummon now. Wreckage Remover Construct, 4-drop 3/4. Whenever this creature enters or attacks, exile up to 1 target card from a graveyard. You gain 1 life. Not terrible. A little bit expensive, but not terrible by any means. Fuel the Flames, pay 3. Fuel the Flames deals 2 damage to each creature. So, kind of like Pyroclasm, I guess. I think Pyroclasm's still going to be better, though. This does have cycling, but yeah. So maybe if you're going up against Control, this would be better because of the cycling, but still, you're going to be unhappy to have it in your hand either way at that point, and Pyroclasm's cheaper. Not seeing anything too interesting here. What we got? We got the Orzhov vehicle, a 2x cost and a 3/3. When this creature or when this vehicle enters, return target artifact or creature card with mana value X or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. That's a really cool ability that happens just whenever the vehicle enters. Does mean that this is potentially going to be more expensive when you play it, but I think that's actually a really great ability to get on top of having a vehicle. Got a Boom Scholar, another goblin. So it looks like green-red goblins might be a thing. It's a 3/3 for 3, which is solid, I guess. Exhaust abilities of other permanents you control cost 2 less to activate. That's really good. Exhaust for 7? 6. Creatures and vehicles you control gain trample until end of turn. Put 2/1 counters on this creature. A lot of the exhaust abilities look like 1/1 counter abilities, but I think they're pretty solid, and this thing making other exhaust abilities cheaper is pretty great. Road Rage deals X damage to target creature or planeswalker, where X is 2 plus the number of mounts or vehicles you control. That card could be pretty crazy in this set, actually. We've got a Calaxian Hunger Tyrant, 3-drop 7/2 legendary creature crocodile. That 2 toughness is crazy, but I definitely feel like this card could see play, especially if you do something to give it evasion, because that 7/2 is nuts. 7/2 for 3 is really crazy. What we got? Point the Path. 1-drop enchantment, start your engines. Already sounds really good. 4-drop sacrifice this enchantment, search your library for up to X basic land cards where X is your speed. Put those cards onto the battlefield, tapped, then shuffle. This seems like a really solid green card, as a matter of fact. I think even just the 1-drop enchantment, start your engines, is pretty solid. And then the fact that you can use it to fetch land for whatever your speed is in the future is pretty great. You could get up to like 4 lands from this. So yeah, that's actually pretty cool. They do enter tapped. That's usually the case, but worth noting. Momentum Breaker. I think I remember hearing about this card. This is essentially your, like, Tithing Blade, the new one that's just better. It's a 2-drop, start your engines enchantment. When this enchantment enters, each opponent sacrifices a creature or vehicle of their choice. Each opponent who can't discards a card. Sacrifice this enchantment for 2, and you gain life equal to your speed. Yeah, this thing's way better than Tithing Blade. Tithing Blade does have the added benefit of being able to transform it later by doing its ability, but this has so much value. You get to start your engines early, you get to make your opponent sacrifice a creature or a vehicle, and if they can't, then they have to discard a card, so even if they don't have anything on the board and they're like a controller player, you can get them to get cards out of their hand. So really good all cases there. And then you can gain life from this later from sacrificing it once you don't need it anymore. That's a really, really good card. Got another one here, which is cool also. Boosted Sloop, a 3-drop Izzet vehicle with Menace. It's a 3/3. Whenever you attack, draw a card, then discard a card. Cruise for 1. Plow through, 1-drop green. Choose 1. It's a sorcery. Target creature you control fights target creature an opponent controls, or destroy target vehicle. That seems like it's going to be pretty playable in green also. Got a Robot Turtle. It's a 5-drop Robot Turtle. It's a 4/4. When this creature enters, return target creature or vehicle an opponent controls to its owner's hand. If that opponent's speed is greater than each other player's speed, reduce the opponent's speed by 1. This effect can't reduce their speed below 1. So that's the first ability that I've seen that is about reducing speed. That's pretty interesting. Aether Siphon is a 3-drop artifact. Start your engines. Pay 2 and tap to draw a card. Max speed. Whenever you draw a card, each opponent mills 2 cards. That is such a cool mill card. That actually is really interesting. Wild Roads. This is a land that I haven't seen yet. Let's see what it's all about. It's a land. This land enters tapped unless you control a mount or a vehicle. You can tap it for 1 green, or you can pay 2, tap it, sacrifice it, create a 1/1 pilot creature token. With this token, saddles, mounts, and crews vehicles as if its power were 2 or greater. Or 2 greater, so I mean, if it's a 2, then it's a 3. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that one. Let's get into the rares. We got another Gonti. Super excited about that. Got one of the Golgari lands, which is really cool. I'm planning on using those for sure. Full Throttle. It's a 6-cost sorcery. After this main phase, so after the main phase when you play it, there are 2 additional combat phases. At the beginning of each combat phase, or each combat this turn, untap all creatures that attacked this turn. So that's crazy. That's actually a really good overrun, like kind of multi-attack ability for you to just plow through your opponents. It is expensive, so fair enough for that, but that's interesting. See here, we got Gestal Thrill Roller. This is a 3-drop 4/2 mono red vehicle, has trample, haste. When this vehicle enters, it becomes an artifact creature until end of turn, so it basically saddles itself on the turn that you play it, which is crazy. It's got crew 2, and you can pay 3 to discard a card, or return this card from your graveyard to the battlefield with a finality counter on it. Activate only as a sorcery. This is actually a really good vehicle. It does only have 2 toughness, but it's only a 3-drop. It immediately is usable when you get it out on the battlefield. And you can get it back from the graveyard, where that enter ability will happen again, even if it has a finality counter on it. So that's super good, actually. This seems like a really fantastic vehicle out of the ones I've seen so far. Got the Simic land, so that's cool. I don't know that I'll get as much use out of it. Bloodghast is one of the cards that I wanted so badly, so I'm super happy to see it. It is a reprint. 2 black, Vampire Spirit, 2/1. This creature can't block. This creature has haste as long as your opponent has 10 or less life, and it has landfall. Whenever a land you control enters, you may return this card from the graveyard to the battlefield. I love this card. I've used this card in old Vampire decks. I will absolutely be using it in new Vampire decks, and I may even put it in a Golgari Landfall deck if I make one. Super happy to see this. Super happy to see it, and I want more of them. Boom Mobile is a 4-drop 5/5 vehicle. When this vehicle enters, add 4 mana of any one color. Spend this mana only to activate abilities. Exhaust for X +3. This vehicle deals X damage to any target. Put a 1/1 counter on this vehicle. Crew for 2. I'm sure there are use cases for this, but I'm not super stoked about this one. This one's much less interesting to me than the previous red vehicle we just saw. Count on Luck. We already saw one of these earlier. Debris Beetle. This is probably, in my opinion, one of the best vehicles that has come out. But anyway, it's a 4-drop 6/6. Already crazy good value as a 4-drop 6/6. It has Trample, which is insane, and when this vehicle enters, each opponent loses 3 life and you gain 3 life, which is so good, and its crew is only 2. So yeah, this is going to be such a good vehicle if you're playing vehicles. Then we do have a Mythic. It is one of the new God cards. It is Sebsunin, Luxa Embodied. Sorry, I really should put my glasses on before reading all of these cards, so I apologize for that. It is a 5-drop 6/6 with Reach, Trample, and Indestructible, and it can't attack or block unless it has an even number of counters on it. 0 is even, so that means it's usable as soon as it gets out. That's crazy. At the beginning of your first main phase, put a 1/1 counter on it. Then if it has an odd number of counters on it, draw 2 cards. So, I take that back. When you play it, it's going to get 1 counter on it. And when it has that 1 counter on it... Hey, stop that, buddy. Sorry about that. My cat's scratching on stuff. So as soon as you play it, it's going to get a 1/1 counter and draw you 2 cards, unless you have some way to proliferate it. I'm going to have to chase off my cat because he's getting into stuff. So like I said, I apologize for that. But that's interesting. One of the God cards. I don't know that I'm super big on Simic, but that's still interesting to see for sure. We've got another 10 to get here. We're almost through. We got 8 more packs to go after this 10. Just get us back to the end here. Looks like we have most of these that we've seen now. Got a couple more of these tapped lands. What are you? New mouse card that's green. Got a worm. Trample Reach, 4/4 for 4. Has exhaust ability. Not bad, all things considered, just looking at it though. Flood the Engine is an aura enchantment for 3. Enchant creature or vehicle. When this aura enters, tap enchanted permanent. Enchanted permanent loses all abilities and doesn't untap during its controller's untap step. So we've seen a lot of cards like this in the past. The fact that it can hit vehicles too is pretty interesting. What else do we have here? Anything else new in the commons and uncommons? Got a Horse Mount, 4-drop 3/3. Whenever this creature attacks while saddled, untap it and put a 1/1 counter on it. That's pretty meh, in my opinion. Walking Sarcophagus is a 2-drop 2/1 with Start Your Engines and a max speed ability where this creature gets +1/+2. I actually think that's pretty great. It is a zombie as well as a cat, so there's some interesting synergies you can do there. Yeah. Just as a 2-drop Start Your Engines 2/1 creature, that's pretty solid, and then the max speed ability makes it a little bit better too. Let's see here. Endrider Spike Spitter is a 4-drop 3/4 with Reach. Has Start Your Engines, max speed at the beginning of your upkeep. Exile the top card of your library. You may play that card this turn. I don't love how it says till this turn. I'm not a big fan of that wording on any of these types of cards, but it's interesting. We have Hour of Victory, a 3-drop enchantment with Start Your Engines, which I do like that. When this enchantment enters, create a 2/2 black creature zombie token. Max speed, you can pay 2 and sacrifice this enchantment to search your library for a card, put it into your hand, then shuffle. You can only activate it as a sorcery. But there you go. This is a 3-drop enchantment that gives you start your engines. That's not fantastic as a 3-drop, but it's still good. It's solid if you haven't already done it yet. It gives you a 2/2 black creature zombie token, black zombie creature token, which is good on its own, and it has a max speed ability where you get a tutor effect from it, which is pretty good too. So I actually think this card's pretty solid for an uncommon. We got a Grease Wrench Goblin, is another goblin, a 1-drop 2/1, which I think is pretty good. Exhaust for 3, discard up to 2 cards, then draw that many cards, put a 1/1 counter on this creature. Not bad. It does only give 1/1 counter, but it gives you some other upside other than that where you can draw more cards, so I don't hate that. Got another mono-red vehicle here, a 5-drop Spire Mecha Cycle, or Mech Cycle. It's a 5/4 with haste. Exhaust, tap another untapped mount or vehicle you control. This vehicle becomes an artifact creature. Put a 1/1 counter on it for each mount and vehicle you control other than this vehicle. I actually think that's pretty good. That exhaust ability doesn't require you to pay in anything additional into it, and if you synergize this with other mounts or vehicles, then you're getting it out essentially as a 6/5 on turn 5, admittedly. But I think this is still pretty solid as far as as creatures or vehicles go. We do have Rover Blades, 3-drop 2/2 vehicle equipment. That's interesting. It has double strike, and equipped creature has double strike. It has an equip cost for 4 and a crew for 2. So it can be a 2/2 double strike creature if you crew it, and if you equip it, then it just gives your creature double strike. So that's really interesting, and I can see this being used in a enchantment. Not an enchantment, an artifact equipment deck if you were still going to try going that route like with the Boris, with like Leyline Axe and stuff like that. So yeah, very interesting. Rocketeer Boost Buggy is a 2-drop 3/2 vehicle. I think that's actually pretty solid already. Whenever this vehicle attacks, create a treasure token. I like that. Exhaust for 3. This vehicle becomes an artifact creature. Put a 1/1 counter on it. And it's only got a crew of 1, so I think this is a really solid vehicle if you're in these colors. That's going to be very viable and could potentially even be used in goblins. So this could be a fun card. Veteran Beast Rider. It's a human knight, 3 cost 3/4, which isn't bad. At the beginning of your end step, untap each creature you control. That is crazy. And then you can pay 4 creatures you control, get +1/+1 until end of turn. I don't think the 4 cost ability is going to be super relevant, but the beginning of your end step, untap each creature you control is actually really, really good. That's crazy. Adrenaline Jockey is a Minotaur pilot, so it's going to get that extra effect from pilot abilities. Whenever a player casts a spell, if it's not their turn, this creature deals 4 damage to them. Whenever you activate an exhaust ability, put a 1/1 counter on this creature. What else do we have? Do I care about most of these? Core Pilot, 2-drop 3/1. Whenever this creature saddles or mounts vehicle during main phase, the mounted vehicle gains flying until end of turn. That's interesting. Glory Heath Lynx is a 2-drop 2/3 cat mount with lifelink. Whenever this creature attacks while saddled, search your library for a basic plains card, reveal it and put it into your hand, then shuffle. This is a super solid card for cats if you're doing mono white cats still. It only has a saddle for 2, but yeah, I think this is actually a really good card. Country Roads is another one of these weird land cards that seems to give you a colorless pilot creature token. So if you liked that with the green, there is a white one. There's probably other color ones then, in fact, as well. What else do we have here? Just this Grease Wrench Goblin again. Let's get into the rares because we're almost done here. Lifecraft Engine is a 3-drop 4/4 vehicle. As this vehicle enters, choose a creature type. Vehicle creatures you control are the chosen creature type. In addition to their other types, each creature you control of the chosen type other than this vehicle gets +1/+1. So this could be a really good card to put in Tribal in general. It basically says that you pick a creature type, whether that be zombies, vampires, whatever. When this enters, it becomes that, and then it also buffs your other creatures of that type. So I think this is solid. It has a crew of 3, which isn't fantastic, but if you already liked using a lot of those banner cards, this is pretty solid. Got a Thopter Fabricator. We actually saw one of these earlier, so I'm not going to go over it, but that's interesting to see more of. Ooh, we got a Shark Pirate again. 4-drop 5/4, which already sounds pretty good. Captain Howler Sea Scourge. Got Ward 2, pay 2 life. So that's good. Whenever you discard one or more cards, target creature gets +2/+2 until, or +2/+0 until end of turn. For each card discarded this way, whenever that creature deals combat damage to a player, this turn you draw a card. Seems really solid. Pirates are going to be super fun. If you have any kind of interest in Izzet Pirates, this is going to be a fun set to do them in. Another Boom Mobile. This one's the one I think I said looked really good, actually. Another Curse Cloth Wrappings, also really good. I'll probably make a Zombies deck just because I'm getting so much stuff for it. Got another Debris Beetle. Like I said, really solid vehicle, probably one of the best ones. I apologize if you're hearing my cat. He's just screaming bloody murder from the other room because I chased him out of here. Another Bloodghast. Love, love, love to see that. Another Thrill Roller. Burnout Bastronaut. Let's see. 1-drop, 1/1, Goblin, Warrior, Menace, start your engines. This is fantastic already. And then 2-drop, this creature gets +1/+0 until end of turn. Max speed, this creature has double strike. Yeah, this is a crazy, crazy good Goblin card. It's a really good 1-drop to begin with, so this is going to be a really good card to get more of. Got another Coal Stoke Gearhulk. Mentioned that a bit earlier, but this is a pretty fun looking one too. I don't know what I'm going to do with it yet, but it's a neat card. Could go pretty interestingly with a Lesha deck, aside from the blue Reanimator decks that you're going to be seeing it in. So if I did do Rakdos, I might put it with Lesha. Got 4 more packs here of the regular Aetherdrift packs. Go ahead and get these looked at. Doesn't look like I got very many new cards this time. Here's a couple. We got the Red Land that does the pilot thing. Detention Chariot, super expensive vehicle. Whenever this vehicle enters, exile target artifact or creature an opponent controls until this vehicle leaves the battlefield. I don't think this is as good. It's really expensive, and there's a lot of vehicle destruction now, so I don't like this one. Tune-Up is a 4-drop, return target artifact card from your graveyard to the battlefield. If it's a vehicle, it becomes an artifact creature. This card's crazy. You could do this with Portal to Phyrexia. Yeah, that's nuts. This thing is disgusting and needs to get out of here. Molt Tender is a 1-drop insect druid 1/1. You can tap it to mill a card or tap it to exile a card from your graveyard and add 1 mana of any color. This card's awesome. I actually really like this. You can use it for self-mill, you can use it for helping feed exile effects, you can use it to be a mana dork for you. It does have to exile from your graveyard, which kind of sucks, but I mean, this is an interesting card. Got a rare wild card. We got another spectacular pile-up, so I'm probably already set on those. I don't know that I would even craft one at this point. Got some mythics here, another one of these Radiant Lotus. I'm not a big fan of it. And then a mythic wildcard. I am okay with getting mythic wildcards, obviously. All we've got left now is our golden packs. I know these aren't strictly Aetherdrift packs, but I assume I'll get some Aetherdrift cards from these, so let's check that out. Start here. Another Perilous Snare. Like to see that. Enduring Vitality. That's obviously not new. Waxen Shape Thief. This is one of the ones being paired with the Coal Shaper Gearhulk. So it is a 4-drop 0/0 with flash. You may have this creature enter as a copy of an artifact or creature you control. So what you do is use the Coal Shaper Gearhulk to copy this, bringing it back from your graveyard because it's a 4-drop. Then you copy the Gearhulk with it and do the ability all over again. That's where these kinds of things are going to synergize. And let's see here. Got the Orzhov double land, which is awesome. I'm happy to see that. My cat's back in here now. He's just freaking out. He's so upset that I'm not paying attention to him. Another Bloodghast. Super, super happy. That means I'm up to 3 of them, and I love this card, so I'm really excited. This one and Gonti, I think it was, were the 2 that I was most interested in getting. So I've really gotten good progress towards both of those. I got 3 of each so far, I think. Consuming Aberration, don't care much for that. Ovia? Automech Artisan is a new one. It's a 4-drop 1/2. Each creature that's attacking one of your opponents has trample. Okay. And then a pay 1 and tap, you may put a creature or vehicle card from your hand onto the battlefield. If you put an artifact onto the battlefield this way, put 2/1/1 counters on it. This one's going to be interesting. I feel like it's going to be used mostly like that Kona card from Duskmourn. It's very expensive, but I think with good reason, and it is going to have Summoning Sickness, which is good. So I don't see this being used as much, I will say that. Another spectacular pile-up, so I have a full playset of those now. I'm happy about it, though. If I play white, I'm going to be using it. Amalia, Outrageous Robbery, Souls of the Lost. I'm actually pretty happy to see one of these. These are fun. And Graveyard stuff is going to be pretty synergistic with this. This is my first one of these, actually. Monument to Endurance. In relevance to this, I didn't play during Lost Caverns of Ixalan. I'm pretty sure that's what that set is. So there's a lot of those cards I don't have still. Which is too bad, because dinosaurs and stuff are going to be really relevant right now, too. Emberheart Challenger. I also don't have any of these cards, except for maybe like one, so that's funny. I just hate playing mono red. I'm not a big fan of that whole archetype, because it's what most people do, and it's really boring. Got the Duskmourn land, which is fine. I'm going to need those. Let's see here. This one's new. It is Basri, Tomorrow's Champion. Does something involving cat tokens, I know that. It's a 2/1 for 1, which is solid. 1-drop and tap, and it creates a 1/1 cat creature token with lifelink, which is really good. This could totally be run in a cat deck and not be bad at all. And then it has cycling, which is good too. When you cycle this card, cats you control gain hexproof and indestructible till end of turn. So that's a really solid ability to protect your cats in a cat deck also. So yeah, this is totally viable in a cat deck. Got another Golgari land. Pretty excited about that. Golgari and Rakdos are the colors that I like the most. So I need the Golgari lands, and I already have the Rakdos lands. Vraska the Silencer, not really interested there. Super not interested in that. Though I guess fairies are going to be doable again. Pest Control I did need another one of, so I'll take it. Anytime I get a mythic, I guess that's pleasant enough too. Let's see here. Oculus. Old Tech Matter Weaver. 3-drop 2/4 Human Artificer. I'm not familiar with this card, but it seems like it probably synergizes well with stuff from this set. Pride of the Hulklade. This is obviously a card people are using right now because there's a lot of defenders and stuff. Conspiracy Unraveler. I don't care much for this at this point. And one of the new loot. So this is interesting, a new mythic. It is a 5-drop with 3 colors required, so it's going to be a little annoying to cast most of the time. It has Double Strike, Vigilance, and Haste. It's a 2/4, and it has 3 exhaust abilities. So it has Exhaust for 1 green and tap, add 3 mana of any color, tap for 1 blue, and exhaust, draw 3 cards, and tap for 1 red. To loot deals 3 damage to any target. So that's going to be an interesting card. I wonder what people are going to do with it. That is the extent of all of my packs for this set that I've got so far. Obviously, I'm going to be getting more, but as I build decks, I got pretty lucky this time. I got a lot of the wild card. Well, I got a lot of wild cards, and I got a lot of the rares and mythics that I wanted. I could have certainly gotten more packs if I had been a little more attentive in completing my daily challenges over the past month or so, but I really wasn't super interested in playing Magic because it got pretty stale with that last set running on for 3 months. But anyway, thank you guys for joining me. I hope you enjoyed this, seeing what I got, getting a little bit of an overview on a lot of the cards and my thoughts on them. Hope you'll join me for when I start actually playing matches with these.